Blog Talk Radio.
I just winding down to the last 10 to 15 minutes of the show. I heard about the historical ninjutsu research team. What is that? What is actually that?
The ninjutsu historical research team was, and basically what their idea was, they're going to go get all these historical texts, whether it's the Ninpai-Dan, the Shoninki, the Bansen Shukai, the Gunpo, Gyosho scrolls, and we can go on and on and on. They're going all these different scrolls, and they're basically translating them so that the world can research them in like the English language, if you will. So that's the whole idea, is to research the old scrolls and then bring it to the world. So Mr. Cummins, to tell you what the team is, he has a degree in history and archaeology, which is, the study of past human studies through recovery of ancient artifacts, if you will. He digs things up. He has a degree in linguistics, which is a scientific study of human language and the meaning of language. Plus she can read the ancient text in Japanese, and then she can get it to, she can help Anthony bring it to English, and then they can figure out the meaning. But there are other people too. There's Otake Sensei of the Kotori Shinto-ryu, who is the top shihan of the oldest Japanese martial art, or one, if not the oldest, one of the oldest martial arts in Japan. So he's part of it. Nakashima Sensei, who is one of the top researchers in Japan today on the samurai and the ninja. He's part of the team. There's also a guy, Mr. Nojiri, or Stephen Nojiri. Now, he's the head of the Nojiri-ryu, but the greatest asset he brings, or one of the greatest assets, is the fact that he's Buddhist. And when you start studying ninjutsu and you look at the ancient historical text, there's so much Buddhism surrounding it. It's surrounded by Buddhism thought, that you have to have someone that understands war or understands samurai or martial mentality and Buddhism to help bring the meaning of that into the translations that this team can help. And the last member of the team is myself, and my job isn't to do any of that. I mean, everyone knows I collect, Densho, Makimono scrolls. I love reading the history. That's why I'm sharing it with you guys. I look at, for me personally, I'm an enthusiast. I like doing it. They're the researchers. They're the historians. It's not my job. My job with the team isn't to worry about that. My job is to put the action on the table. We all know that the ninja could perform this on the field of battle. They carried out missions. It wasn't theory. So my job is when they do these translations and they're like, okay, well, does this technique work here? How does this technique work? They can translate all this stuff a million ways. My job is to take their translation and then, get my guys out there and let's see if it works. They said that this is the translation of this specific old scroll. So my job is to, let's see if it works. Because if it doesn't work, then their translation's wrong. Because a ninja wasn't in practice on a technique that doesn't work. So they've seen some of my videos, like on YouTube or some other video sharing sites, and they like the way I put together our videos and the way our school moves. They asked me to do that. So my job is to do the action and the physical part with that research team.
Okay. All right. And basically, because I was about to mention, too, that I know that you are a collector of scrolls and whatnot. So just the last question that I want to ask you, what do you think is the future of ninjutsu?
I think the future of ninjutsu is going right back full circle, right to the beginning. I think because of the 80s, everyone has seen the black mask, and everyone's doing taijutsu, empty-handed kempo stuff, and this is supposed to be ninjutsu, and it's just not. And, I think that has been pounded into everyone's heads the last 20 or 30 years, that now all this stuff is coming up, and people are starting to really see that, wow, the ancient scroll says this, but we're doing this. There's nothing wrong with researching the ancient scrolls and looking at what they actually did historical. You don't have to take one person's word that what they say is accurate. I mean, here at the Budo Do, we have an oral tradition too. But even though we have an oral tradition, we also study the Bansen Shukai and various other scrolls too to make sure that historical ninjutsu is taught at the school so the students get exactly what it is that they're looking for. So I think that's I think that is where ninjutsu is going. I think people are going to start wanting to learn what's actually on the historical text So I think the future of ninjutsu is actually going full circle to the beginning of where it started.
Okay, because definitely there's a huge following. There's a huge interest out there. I mean, perfect example. You have close to or well over 9,000 students. So there's definitely an interest for learning about ninjutsu.
Yeah, it's actually. I think ninjutsu is becoming more popular. And to be quite honest, I think it's because of the movies. I mean, it's such a bad thing that movies like Ninja Assassin, comes out and oh my God, everyone wants to learn ninjutsu. And then they come to my school and I'm like, oh, by the way, it's not really how they would have done it. It kind of breaks a little heart that the Ninja Turtles didn't exist, but it brings interest, and with interest becomes people asking questions, and then when they ask questions, we have something that we can give them.
Okay, very good.
The great thing is there's just so much. The real part, the real historical part of it will always come to the top, and I think that's going to be beginning. The beginning will be where it started is where we're going in the future. Okay,
very well. Well, Anshu Christa, thank you for that history lesson. I'm a martial artist, and I've never really thought about ninjutsu other than what I've seen, small, portions of it, and heard of only a very few people in this country who are instructors or masters in this country who are actually teaching it. You don't find too many ninjutsu schools around, but but I think it's quite unique, and I think you're doing a great job, researching a lot of this detailed information, because sometimes as martial artists, in the karate world, we don't think about it. We only think about our clan or our family, but we don't think about outside clans or outside styles or and whatnot.
Right.
So I think
that's important, though, and I think you're so right when you say that. You're so right, and I think it's important that people look at other things. It kind of helps validate what they're doing. I mean, if they're doing one thing and everybody else is doing something different, you got to ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing here, But
exactly.
Definitely. If you give me 1 second, what I would like to tell the viewers or anyone listening, I would like to tell them exactly what manuscripts I used to put forth the information today, in case they wanted to cross-reference for themselves. Okay.
Oh, please, go ahead.
Again, just real quick. Again, everyone knows that trains with me. They know that we're really big with the Bansen Shukai, and that's one of the texts that I used to bring some of the information, not all the information, but some of it was from there. Other texts that we did use was we had 3 books that I used from Stephen Turnbull, who's a historian on the samurai and ninja traditions, and I used Ashigaru, 1467 to 1649. That's the name of the book.
Right.
Ninja, The True Story of Japan's Secret Warrior Cult by Stephen Turnbull, and The Samurai, A Military History by Stephen Turnbull. And then I had 2 other books that we pulled some information from, and one of them is called True Ninja Traditions by the Ninjutsu Historical Team by Anthony Cummings and Yoshi Imanami, and the other one is True Path of the Ninja, again by the Ninjutsu Historical Research Team.
Very good. Now, if anybody who wants to ask any questions directed to you as far as what happened, what the lesson that was here tonight, please give them your web address and your email address.
www.budoruninjutsu.com. There's a contact button. You guys can contact me. I'm not going to say that I know everything, but I will more than happy help you guys the best I can. Or you can go to our Facebook page, which is just, you can go to the fan page of Anshu Christa Jacobson. And if you want to email me directly, it's Anshu, ANSHU, at budoruninjutsu.com. Anshu at budoruninjutsu.com. Anybody has questions, email me. I'll be more than happy to help you the best I can.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
You too. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you guys very much for watching the interview. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. During the interview, I had, it's called Martial Arts Blog Talk Radio. And so it's a blog. As you listen to the radio, you can also see the blog and people typing and things like that. I want to make to all the students of the Budo, I want to make this one point very clear, because there were people that were talking very negative about me in that blog, and they were saying a lot of mean and hateful and nasty things. And the great thing about what they were doing was it opens up the door for me to give you guys a lesson. Towards the end of the interview, I actually put up the Blog Talk Radio website, so I could see if it was downloading and things like that. And again, it was towards the end of this interview, and I noticed that people were typing in, and everything they were saying were negative. I'm like, dang, it was so negative and hateful and slanderish. They weren't even saying anything that had anything to do with what I was talking about. That's how hateful it was. They weren't even talking about what the radio show was about. Nothing that they were talking about was actually on topic of the show. They were just throwing hate. But the reason I logged on was because it is a Blog Talk Radio, and what I wanted to see was how many people were logged on and listening to the show. That's what I thought was the most important part, okay? I don't remember the exact number, okay? I know that it was over 2,000, but it wasn't over 2,500. So I'm not exactly the exact number of how many people were actually listening to the show, okay? But I do know that we're in between 2,000 and 2,500 of you guys that were listening live to the radio show. Now on the left-hand side of my screen on the computer, you could see how many people were typing into the Blog Talk, okay? There was between, 15 and 20 people. I think it said 17, but sometimes people type and then they go off and on, that kind of thing. So you had between 15 and 20 people talking, and it was completely negative. But we have between 2,000 and 2,500 people listening to the show. This gives me the opportunity to give you guys a wonderful lesson in martial arts. In life, I always tell you guys, do things that are positive. It's not positive, it doesn't bring happiness. If it doesn't bring love into your life, then you don't need to take part in it. And in this situation here, it really made me feel like some of the things that I preach here at the Budo, you guys really listened. And thank you very much for that. I was so proud of all the students and all the people that were listening. Because when you look at the numbers, okay, when you have basically 2,000 plus, right, people listening to the show, and you had about 20 people talking trash, that's like 1%. Or less than 1%, actually. Literally, it was like 1% of the people that were listening to the show had a bunch of trash to talk. And I understand that. And as students, I know you guys look at that, okay? And it's not that you look at it. It's not that you don't see it. It's not that you don't know that it's there. It's a simple fact that you didn't pay attention to it. What you guys paid attention to was the 99%. 99% of the people that was listening to that radio show had nothing negative to say. You guys were listening, you were trying to gather information and have a good time and make yourselves a better martial artist and expand your knowledge in the arts. That was absolutely wonderful. And this actually shows that very few people really pay attention and very few people are about hate. And this was the point I wanted to make. If you look at YouTube, because right now if you're watching this video, you're probably on YouTube or other video sharing sites that we put this video on. If you look at our numbers specifically on YouTube, we have about 6,000 subscribers. And if you look at all the other schools that are also doing ninjutsu, and you look at all these people that like to talk about other people, they don't have near that many subscribers. And that's another point that I think is very valid, that the fact that there are more of you guys that just want good information and want to be a good person with good morals and be a good martial artist rather than to associate yourself with that. Same thing with Facebook. Like you guys are probably on Facebook watching this. I've got 2 Facebook pages, and that's only because I didn't know there was a limit if you had a regular page. So on one page you have like 5,000, and the other page were like 12, 13,000, something like that on the fan page. I have 18,000 fans and friends on Facebook. Over 6,000, or right around 6,000 with YouTube. And we have a lot of people that are interested in what we're doing. I did a live radio show. Between 2,000 and 2,500 people were listening. Less than 20 people had something negative to say. This is wonderful. What this shows is less than 1%. I'll take those numbers any day. If 99% of the people that are listening are having a good time and not involving themselves with that negativity and slanderous and rude comments, that's wonderful. I know it's going to happen. Anytime you're successful, there are going to be people that don't like you. Just because the fact that you're successful. Because anytime you're doing hate online, it's not right. You should never hate. Martial arts is not about hate. It's about kindness and compassion. defending yourself, protecting your loved ones, making yourself a better person, and making the people around you better. So I do want to say thank you guys very much for watching the show. I thought it was a great show. I thought it was a wonderful show. I did make some mistakes in part 1, so if you do watch part 1, I did make a mistake and I cleared that up. But other than that, I thought it was a wonderful show, and I hope you guys had a great time. So I wish you guys all the best. If you're students in the RU, keep going. You're doing a wonderful job. Okay, I'd also like to add that we're having another school open on the East Coast. It's going to be great. When I get more information to the exact specific location, it'll be in the Warrior Notes. We also have another school opening in Georgia. So if you guys live in Georgia, we'll have another Budo. We'll actually have a Budo school in Georgia. That's great. So we have 2 more schools opening, and so this is wonderful. All you guys are on the long distance training programs, home programs. You're flying in here to train. We're creating a positive atmosphere. People are absolutely loving what we're doing. Thank you so much for all the positive emails that I've got. I really do appreciate it. Take care, be safe, and good luck in your journey of Budo.